today to the outreach event brought to you by the City of Austin. I'll be talking today about the Austin Bergstrom International Airport, and specifically about the Airport Expansion Development Program and our opportunities in 2022. I'll go over an overview of the Austin Airport, an overview of the program that we currently have underway, and then finally, solicitation opportunities. And as I go along, if you have questions, please put them in the chat. To give you a little bit more information about the Austin Airport, we are part of a large service area and a huge economic impact to the region. We've provided over $7.6 billion of impact in the last few years. We've provided over 74,000 jobs, and specifically in 2018, over 2,000 construction jobs. We're in what we call the Golden Triangle, the area that creates Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and Austin. We're almost nearly right in the middle. As you well know, I'm sure, Austin is booming, and we are part of 5 of the 20th largest cities in the U.S. 6% of the population of the whole U.S. live in this Golden Triangle. Texas is home to 70% of the population. The Austin Airport is part of the City of Austin, and we have a strategic aim. Our vision is to be the gateway to the world for all, every day. Our mission is to provide safe journeys to the world, to provide economic opportunities, and to be an employer of choice. And the AUS promise is the commitment to put people first and provide safe and enjoyable experience for all of our guests, employees, and partners. To meet the demand, to be able to fly AUS, we have to work on many different things, including growing. We want to be able to welcome the community to our region. We want to provide that economic opportunity for everyone in the region and provide a community benefit. We want to have a safe and convenient travel, and we want to be able to have efficient design, increase connectivity, and maximize inconveniences while traveling. And in today's economic boom that we're starting to see at the airport, we need to grow in order to meet this strategic aim. To give you a little bit more background on the campus as a whole and the facilities we have, the Austin Airport encompasses over 4,200 acres that are owned by the City of Austin, and specifically, we provide our own revenue. We are not a tax-based situation. All the revenue that the airport makes sustains itself. The revenue we get is from things like parking, airline fees, and airline and tenant rents. We have 2 very widely spaced runways that allow takeoffs and landings for large planes, including international flights. We have over 34 gates, over 900,000 square feet. We have a rental car facility right at the door. We have 2 fixed-based operators, which are general aviation private planes. We have 25 acres of cargo area. We have 2 hotels on site. We have over 40 acres area for the Texas National Guard that helps provide things like fire protection in fire zone areas. We also have a low-cost carrier terminal to the south. A little bit more about the history of the flights out of Austin. Historically, the city as a whole doubles in population on average every 20 years. And when you look at the flights and the way that the flights correspond to that, we've got a steady increase of over 5%. But as we look to the future, we really wanted to figure out what we need to provide for the region. So we created a 2040 master plan, and we had to look at those forecasts. So in 2030, if you look at the yellow line, it shows that we will be nearly 30 million annual passengers. In just a short few years, in 2025, we may have almost 24 million annual passengers. This is a huge growth rate, and we project a potential even stronger growth rate that we need to plan to. To give you an idea, we've got some recent trends. When you want to look at January 2019, we were over 1.1 million passengers just for that month. When you look at January 2022, we are also over 1.1 million passengers. Although we've had a dip in 2020, as many other airports had due to the coronavirus, we've had a huge increase of passengers, latent demand of people wanting to travel. We've basically returned to where we were in 2019. Therefore, we need to really look to the future and be able to grow and build more capacity to be able to meet the demand for the region. As mentioned before, we created a 2040 master plan. It was completed in 2018. We looked at the whole campus and we were able to create areas of the campus specifically for different types of growth, for different types of needs. The largest thing that we will need is another concourse, anywhere from 10 to 20 plus gates. We also need a connector to that concourse. We will, of course, need to improve the front of the facility in order to get people in through ticketing and through security. So that area will also be enhanced and enlarged, as well as widening or increasing capacity on the roadways that come into the airport and specifically in front of the terminal. This is a great rendering of the concept that was created in 2018. As part of that 2040 master plan, we really wanted to understand, to be able to continue to be an economic engine for the region, what would that look like? What would the total capacity of the existing land that the airport owned get us? And during that process, we were able to realize that in the future, we would be able to have 60 million to 80 million annual passengers. That is well larger than DFW in Houston. So we do have space on our land, and we are headed in the right direction, and we can serve the community as a whole and the region in the future. The focus right now is what we call the AEDP, the Airport Expansion Development Program, and that is the dark blue. So it's the 20 gates or more that I had talked about. It's the existing Barbara Jordan terminal and renovating it and enlarging and pushing it out. So let's go ahead and talk more about the Airport Expansion Development Program. This is a map that we created for an environmental assessment. It shows that there are over 32 major elements of this program. Everything from the new concourse and the tunnel to a new central utility plant, to new airfield work, to new roadway work, to a new substation. There are many, many, many opportunities that will be arising not only in 2022, but for the next 10 years. These major elements talk everything about the airfield, the terminal, the facility demolitions that will need to happen, the roadways, the increased utilities and stormwater infrastructure, as well as other service areas. like a new area for the catering and belly freight. These are things that we will tackle in the next 10 years. Everything you see here on this map is something that we're going to be tackling in the next 10 years. So again, please remember, if you have questions about this, add them in the chat and we'll talk about them after the presentation's over. So zooming in a little, let's look at the major program elements. If there are 32 specific large areas, what are the large construction projects that we're going to tackle, and what order are we going to do it? So the first one, we're going to optimize that Barbara Jordan terminal. That's our existing terminal and our existing gates. We're going to be adding some new gates at the end in order to be able to take out gates where the tunnel's going to have to go. We're going to be doing some other improvements at ticketing and security lines in order to help us get to the time when the new concourse is open. On average, it takes about 5 years to design and build new infrastructure. So between now and the next few years, we've got to be able to continue to meet the demand that is coming from the region in the existing Barbara Jordan terminal. So we've got to look at optimizing it. The next phase is the airfield infrastructure. That includes site utilities, a central utility plant with a new air conditioning plant, a new substation, and other utilities. That's in that sort of light green that you see on the right of the image. That airfield infrastructure includes new taxiways, new apron work, basically a lot of concrete. Then there's phase C, the concourse itself. We're looking to start building 10. We may need 20 or more as we continue to look at that growth and keep an eye on the forecast. We'll continue to build to demand instead of building to the future. This way we can work on building an efficient, functional, affordable airport. We also will have the tunnel that connects the existing Barbara Jordan terminal to the new future concourse. That will most likely be one of the last things as part of the overall major program elements. Now I'm talking really generally about all these things, so remember, if you want to know something specific, please put it in the chat and we'll get to it. So what kind of time frame are we talking about? We like to call it our journey to 30 million annual passengers. We're working right now on optimizing the Barbara Jordan terminal. We hope to have a lot of those elements done in 2024 sometime. That's everything from upgrading the baggage handling system to building those new gates that I talked about and providing additional passenger processing through security lanes. At the same time, we'll be working on the airfield enhancements and the utility infrastructure. It takes a long time to build a substation, essential utility plants, and new taxiways. We've just started to look into that, and there are live procurements right now on some of these projects. The next phase will be the concourse, and so we're going to start looking at doing some preliminary design and preliminary planning in 2024, and we really hope to have the new concourse open in 2027 to be able to provide permanent gate capacity. So what do we have upcoming? I'm going to focus on this year. As you can see, as from the slide before, the program is really long. So let's focus on what are we working on this year and what are the opportunities that you can help us with. So there are both requests for qualifications and solicitations out. So both design and construction solicitations are currently out and will be out in the coming months and throughout the summer and fall. So the first one that is actually out on the street right now is the airfield infrastructure project. The next one that's out is the program management support consultant. That should be currently out as we speak. Coming this summer will be construction for demoing a lot of old Air Force buildings, as the Austin Bergstrom International Airport was before it was an airport for the community. It was an Air Force base that was built in the 1940s. There's still lots of old infrastructure in the south part that needs to get demolished. The other things that are coming out this summer is a contract for construction for the airfield infrastructure. Then in the fall, we'll look for a design consultant for the concourse, stormwater design, and we'll have uh, an asbestos, lead, and PFAS remediation contract out for construction and removal of those elements. Then finally, towards the end of the year, we'll have a Concourse B contractor look out on the street. So these are the solicitations that we're focused on this year to help get the program started and kicked off and moving along the road. So these are our opportunities in 2022, and that's why we like to call it Runway to Opportunities. We're an airport that will help you and you will help us. Thank you for participating this morning. Please refer to our websites as we continue to post opportunities and information about the program. Thank you and have a good day.